Hello everybody, it is Cheri Bant and it is Friday. It's my share day and I am sharing week 10. Yes, last week I think I said week 8 and it was week 9, but we are on week 10 of eating whole food, plant-based, no oil. And yeah, it's been a good week. So far, I don't know that maybe I have. Have I had a bad week yet? I don't know. I don't think I've had a bad week since I've been doing this. So to give you a little perspective, it has been 12 weeks since I was in the hospital, 10 weeks that I've been eating whole food, plant-based, no oil, the forks over knives way. And if you haven't seen the documentary yet, you can watch it. I'll put a link in the description. But I have a couple things to share. Woohoo! Good news. When I started, 231, right? That's how much I weighed. I've shared it. You know, most ladies don't like to talk about their weight, but we're talking about it here. I'm being honest. 231 when I started. So when I was in the hospital, the weight that I was at was 231. And as of this morning, I weighed in at 190. 190. So I've officially lost over 40 pounds. 41 pounds I'm down in 12 weeks. 10 weeks eating this way. The first 2 weeks I was doing a keto. I was doing, you know, high fat, high protein, little to no carbs. And then I add that 2 weeks into it after I met with my doctor. If you don't know the story, you can go back and watch. Every week I have done just a little update on what's going on and how it's going. So huge for me. Now I am walking every single day, if you're following along, as you know, and I have not stopped walking every single day since I think the last time I didn't walk was like May 25th. So every single day I've walked a mile or more. And this week was a big week for me because I did on Monday, I think I have my stone, like I have all my stones here. I got to get something to put them in. I just don't want to put them in glass. I even started writing on them. But Monday I did 4.7 miles, which was the most that I had done in terms of like continuous walking. I usually do at least two walks a day, sometimes 3. Usually do 2 walks a day. If I do a big walk in the morning, I do a smaller walk with Darren in the evening after we eat dinner, and some of the kids usually go along, and that's usually about 1 mile to 1.5 miles. Usually now it's 1.5 miles because everybody's worked up to that. But anyways, I did 4.7. I had my first over 20,000 step day. So in addition to doing that 4.7 walk, we did another walk, and then activity during the day ended up equaling 20,000 plus steps. Then Wednesday, I was a little disappointed. At the end, it was like only 4.79 something. And I'm like, oh, I want to get to 5 miles. So Wednesday, I was motivated when I was out. Now, mind you, we'll talk about this in a minute, but I ended up doing a 5.2. I ended up adding a little extra, ended up doing 5.2 miles on my morning walk. And then today I did 5.1. So, so I'm adding a lot, and that usually takes, you know, depending on which route I go, it takes me about an hour and 20 some minutes or so to do that much, which sounds like a lot. But it's really, gosh, guys, it's not, so anyways, I'll dive into that a little bit more because I have a few things to talk about with that. So yes, so that's a big deal. 20,000 plus steps is like 10 miles. And I can remember when we first started, like walking, when I first started on the diet and then I had enough energy to move, because again, I'm going to go back to this. What I'm eating is giving me the energy, the fuel to be able to move. And every day, oh, I wish I would have grabbed the book. Every day I've gotten up, hold on, I don't think I have it right here. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to leave the video for just a second. And I'm going to grab a book. And all of my my business people that back in the day, for any of you who watch when I used to have a studio and then I coached other ladies on business. It's dusty. It's a little dusty. I'm going to dust it off a little bit. I need the dust over there. You'll know this, right? Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. Little tiny book, right? Not a big book. But I think I finally get this. Like, totally get it. Back when I had the business and I was coaching on doing, you know, being consistent. Because consistency for me, I'm a creative person. consistency is very difficult. This is the first time in my life, I'm going to be straight up honest, that I have been consistent for this long. This is it. Like, that might sound like crazy, but I have never been this consistent with anything I've ever done in my life before. And maybe that sounds really pathetic. I don't know. But I would always I was a 3-weeker. That's a lot of times. Now with my business, when I had the studio, I was more, I mean, I did a lot more and I was more consistent with that, but you know, I don't have that anymore. That's gone. And, but with this, I you know, usually even in the business, I was like on a 3 to 4 week rotation where I need something different. Something needed to change. And for those of you that have the creative personality, you'll understand what I mean. But walking and doing this and all the things that I'm learning have been a constant change for me. And I'm seeing a change in myself, which is a motivator. Okay, so compound effect. I even get his emails. Darren Hardy has like these little emails. You can look him up. Look him up if you've never heard of him before. It's very motivating. I haven't listened to him in a while because I am not doing the business side of things right now. So anyways, okay. So another big news. As of yesterday, I did my final for Forks Over Knives, my cooking course that I started a little over 4 weeks ago. It's like a 55-hour plus course. I've like crammed it in. I wanted to get it done before we start homeschooling with the kids, and I was able to. So I just have my final assignment, my final cooking assignment that needs to be graded, and I'm all done with it. And then I'm considered a certified plant-based home chef or whatever. Yeah, it was really good, guys. I cannot say enough good things about it. Right now, if you're at all interested, it's like they've got the $100 off again. It's like $249 for it. It's worth it. It's so worth it. You learn so much. And maybe like I've been cooking a long time. I got a huge family. We've cooked for a long time, but I didn't have the confidence in the kitchen. Even I was doing really well with the whole food plant-based. There's a lot of stuff that I learned about with cooking and prepping and all of that. And some of the things that I realized in the class, this last unit that I did in the class, that they can make this easier for others. We just naturally batch cook, kind of, because we have such a large family. So we do such large quantities. I'm changing my light here, sorry. Such large quantities of food. So I've always tried to kind of cook so we have some leftovers. But that's really been what's making this a lot easier for us. Like making sure you have, you know, brown rice cooked up and in the fridge, some beans cooked up and in the fridge, some veggies cooked up, some, you know, I don't buy greens that I have to wash. Just, I buy them in the plastic container already washed. They should probably be washed, but I don't wash them. Making sure you have greens, but having things readily available, taking the time like 1 or 2 days a week to make extra, so you have that. And you can change up the flavors by adding, you know, like the liquid aminos if you want something that's a little more, you know, Asian, or you could do something that's a little more spicy or Mexican with using, you know, you can make yourself a cashew cream sauce or something. But anyways, I just wanted to say, I realized that maybe this transition was a little easier for me because I was already cooking in such large quantities. But if you are considering, or if you're already in the midst of doing this, do some food prep. It'll make your life easier. Take your Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning. We do waffles because I eat those waffles. Like if you look at my Instagram, you'll see the, like, I would eat these apple oat waffles every single morning. I do throw in some oatmeal occasionally, but I've gotten to where I'm in the waffle rut, which is fine. I have my big thing of blueberries on them. I make a little syrup with some maple syrup. You know, I'm living the life. I'm not suffering. But anyways, some food prep makes things easier. So I did want to talk about that. The other thing I wanted to say is I still want to enjoy what I eat. Like, I want to eat something and be like, ooh, that's really good. And I'm still getting that. We did this recipe and it's maybe on the more fat side, because if you love olives, it's like a green olive based, like a Sicilian sauce. And this was a recipe that I just found on one of the vegan things that I'm scrolling through. This wasn't in the cooking course, but you eat it, and maybe I'll share that. I think there's a link to, where I'll find a link and then I'll share it in the description below if you're at all interested. But it's like it's kind of a sauce. It doesn't look real pretty, but when you eat it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This tastes like restaurant food. And I didn't used to cook like that, where I think where the whole food plant-based has allowed me to explore like spices and herbs and making more sauces, and I didn't do that before, and I enjoy it. And if you're at all creative, give yourself some time in the kitchen. Once you start to learn, you're gonna love it. I love it. I'm sad that my class is over because I have learned so much, and I enjoy the learning and then the doing. So I'm exploring some other options as to what to do down the road, because there's a lot more I want to learn about, like holistic health and nutrition, and I'm exploring some other avenues. But anyways, okay. So so I wanted to share that we're woohoo. I just have to get my final grade, and then I'll like share my little congratulations, she's finished thing or whatever. I'm just really excited that I did it. But if you are, look into it, because if you're thinking about going whole food plant-based, or you are and you feel like you're in a rut and you need some, you know, some more energy in the kitchen to like do some variations, it's really a good course. It's really worth it. But just be committed to it. I'm like reading in the Facebook group for it where people have bought it and then they never did it because they were intimidated. Don't be intimidated. The instructors are really good with the feedback and everything. And I've got like, my grades are like 99%. If I can do that, you can do it. Okay. So anyways, there's that. The other thing is, my hair, I feel like my hair is growing thicker, like it's getting a little thicker, and I've noticed my nails, like my nails, I'm not taking, they're real strong, and before they would be brittle, I can't talk, they would be brittle and they would tear really easy, and I did tear one of them when I was pulling laundry out, but I'm not taking any supplements. And I was the person who spent $100+ a month taking supplements because I felt like I did not have the energy to even like do my day without them. And now I'm not taking any. I just do a B12 supplement. And the diet has really just been good for my hair and my nails. And also for depression, guys. I'm somebody where my moods were, I've always struggled with it. I'm not going to lie. I've always been an up and down I'm a very highly emotional person. And so I'm always, my mind is constantly going. I'm a worrier, even though I say I'm a realist, not an optimist. I'm a realist. And, but I will tell you, I think a lot of the mood swings that I was dealing with before were related to food. And now that I have this stability of what I'm putting into my body, I used to get irritated by the silliest things, and I still do a bit, but not to the degree where it gives me like, ew, like, I hope you know what I'm talking about. That kind of like, I don't know, where you're just kind of pissed at the world. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I have never felt better. I have never, in all honesty, this is probably the best. I'm going to end up being like close to 50. I'm close to 50, guys. And I have no regret. I'm not a person who looks back. I always am looking forward. I look back and reminisce, but I'm not a, oh, life was better then person. I'm always like, we're still going that way. You know, there's a day I'll get to meet Jesus, and that's going to be the best day ever. But so I know that I'm not, some people look back and they're like, oh, you know, life used to be so good and now I'm old and I can't move and da-da-da-da. I'm not one of those. I'm like, let's keep going. Let's keep moving forward. And I think that helps me. But I think that with the moods, like before I would just, you know, I would worry about the future, and now I'm just like, I'm like content. And I just haven't felt that in so long. And I don't know if it's the combination of the food and the exercise. You know, we've found a church that I just absolutely love. I've been sleeping, sleep is so critical. First thing I will tell you, I just didn't sleep very well. But again, I think the food made me not sleep. So, I think the food is first. And then I think things fall into place, because now I'm like 8+ hours, you know, I'm sleeping lots more, and I know it's making a huge difference. But before I couldn't do that. my body just couldn't. It couldn't shut down. It couldn't relax. It, you know, I felt like shit every time I get up in the morning. Now I'm like up, and there's days I'm laying in the bed and I'm like, oh, you know, but it feels so good. You know how comfortable the bed feels in the morning. But once I'm up, I'm like, boom, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm drinking my lemon water, Michelle. I'm drinking my lemon water because I do that. She told me to do that, and I've been doing it. I do that every morning. Even though I think it's bad, I notice, like, I have a broken tooth here. I'm going to have to get this fixed, guys. But I notice I have blueberries every morning. I do my lemon water and drink, and then I try to drink quite a bit of water after that. Then I make my breakfast, and I have my blueberries on there. Well, I've got like this broken tooth here that really needs repaired, and it's starting to get like really dark. And I think the lemon probably softens my tooth enamel, and then I'm putting those blueberries on there. I'm thinking that's a nice, so I'll have like Bluetooth. You guys can start calling me Bluetooth. I don't know. But anyways, okay, so there's that, and I'm babbling. But so the other thing that I did want to say is I had like a little bit, I was listening to, it was not related to the food stuff at all. Cause I listened to a lot of the whole food, plant-based, whatever, podcast and all that. But the Ed Milet show, podcast, I listened to that this morning, and it had the Iron Cowboy dude on there that did, if you're familiar, he did, broke world record for doing 100 days of triathlons. Actually, he did 101. But, so I listened to that, and that was kind of interesting. Not that I'm going to do a triathlon. No, don't think so. But it was just interesting to listen to, and it made me think of, again, I'm going to go back to when I used to coach business people. And I used to, these ladies, and it was, well, I don't know, did I have any men? I think they were all women. I think about this, and if any of you out there are watching, I want to say something here, because I realized if you've done that, if you've like made a decision to start a business, whether you feel it was successful or not, regardless to the point, whether it's still open or not, regardless, that doesn't even matter. But the fact that you decided to do it, you did it, and you got through that fear of starting, and then getting it started. I think that a lot of times people have ideas of what they want to do, and they're so afraid to do them. But if you've ever started a business, been in business, I don't care if it was for a week, you can do this. There's no fear in this. There's no fear in changing your diet and walking for exercise. There's no fear in that. I think it's uncomfortable, and there's some discomfort, but shit, if you've done the other, there's like nothing here. I mean, I think about, I'm an instant gratification person. So I think this is where the walking comes in. I've been doing 2 days a week with my son doing weightlifting, and I don't like that as much. I really don't like that. And one is because it's a slow process, right? There's a lot of like, you do it and then you have to wait. And then you do it, and then you have to wait because there's rest in between the muscles, and I don't like it. I like continuous movement, and then I like seeing what I've done. That's where this comes into play. Because for walking, I can tap my little thing, and I can set it to do, like, tell it that I'm doing functional strength training or whatever, but it's not the same thing mentally for me. I can see my steps. Like, I can see, like, today I did this many, or just, so I'm competing against myself. Like, I can do more. I can push myself more. and I have to be careful not to, like, do too much. I need to have rest in there, and I'm trying to do that. But my point here is that a lot of times we don't do stuff because we're afraid, and really with any of this, you're just gonna feel good if you try it. And it's not like starting a business. It's easier than that. So for any of you out there that have done that, and you're looking to change your, because when you're focusing like on a business, it's hard to focus on yourself. And you all, if any of you have done it, you know what I mean. You're like, that comes first. That baby gets fed first. You get fed second, or maybe not at all. And I think business and health are difficult. So the ones that can make that work, that are really grinding and they're keeping their health in check, I think that that's props to them, because I think that that's a tough place to be. And I know that people do it. For me right now, I know that if I was still doing the business side of things, and that'd be hard. It'd be hard. So what I'm getting at is take each day as it comes. don't have fear in change. And that's the other thing why I think this is working for me. When I started this, I'm like, watch, let's see what happens, right? And that's where I've been at. Like, you know, right now I'm 190. Tomorrow could be 192. You know, I could go back up. And if I'm not going to beat myself up if that happens. But the thing is, I just take the day as it comes. So I get up, and a lot of times I don't, like, I want to walk. My body will get to where it wants to move because I've gotten to where that's a habit now. So I get that feeling. But a lot of times in my head, I'm like, I don't want to do 3 miles today. Maybe I'll just walk 1.5 miles. And that's where I always start. I'm like, I'll do 1.5 miles. That's where I'll start. I'll see how I feel. And then once I start walking, if I feel good, I'm like, I'll keep going. And there's been some days the 1.5 miles is all I do in the morning. I don't do the 3 mile. I don't do the 5 mile. I don't do the 4.7. So just give it what you can give it each day. And don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work. And then just get up and try again tomorrow. So I guess I just know that a lot of times we don't do it just because it's inconvenient. Because that's where I was. I'm like, eventually I'll exercise, but then I would try and it didn't feel good. And so take the baby steps, get to where you have the energy, start with the food. Sleep, but food first, sleep, exercise. Okay, so I guess really that's it. I guess that's all I got for this week. Again, if you're looking at the Forks Over Knives, you have any questions about the cooking course, I'm happy to share. If you have any, want to know exactly what you learn about, I'd be happy to share that with you. I really think it's worth it, though. I think it's worth way more than what they're charging. I learned so much in there. So if you are walking this journey, like if you're doing the whole, you stumble on this, you're doing the whole, say hello. I would love to know how all of you are doing out there. If you're starting to walk, share with me, share your steps. I think there's some motivation in that. You can hop over to my Facebook page. You can share it in the comments below, whatever. Say, I did this today. I would love to applaud where you're at. And I will say it's easy to forget, already for me, it's easy to forget in 10 weeks of doing this, where I started, but I'm trying to make sure I don't. I remember how hard it was to, and I'm talking about the exercise more than the food. The food, you just got to get through that first 2 hell weeks. I always say 3, give it 3 weeks, guys. Commit to 3 weeks. It'll change your life. You'll have energy to do things you never thought you could do. So anyway, I will be back next week giving you an update, and hopefully I have great things to share, and if not, I'll share if they're not so great. But again, check in, say hello. Thank you for watching this. You all have a blessed one, and I will see you next week.